Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Meadsy69 and welcome back to some replays. Today we have 3 battles and they are all tier 9 medium tanks. And first up we have a T-54 and it's driven by Heisenberg. And he is on the New Bay map. He is top tier, and T-54 is actually a tank that I don't actually receive many replays from. Actually, I've had a couple of really good ones, but it's quite a rare tank for me to get a replay of. So Heisenberg, this battle, he's gone left. There is a lot of quick tanks on his team, which is probably the best way to come. Now the T-54 is a very strong tank. It's used to be the Heat 54, used to be probably one of the most OP tanks in the game back in the day, 5 or so years ago. And it's still very good. It's still very good, but it's just a tank that you don't see as often as you should now. Now, I probably actually prefer the T-54 than the Object 140, probably because of the turret. I'm not quite sure. And of course you see tier 8, and when you see tier 8 in this tank, you can really have a really good time, and you can do a lot of damage, and you can also bounce a heck of a lot of shots. The armor is actually very trial. If you come up against another T-54, it's very difficult to pen him. So the pen is not that great on the T-54. That's why it used to be called Heat 54, because everyone used to just spam heat. Now I love this here. There's the T-49. He's gone for the ram. In total he does 781 damage, and he doesn't even lose 100 HP for that. So he's bounced 960 damage. He does get the bounce from the T-49, so he's on 960 damage, and he's on 960 block damage, and he's on 1700 block damage. So he actually pushed at the right time as well, instead of staying there. So the T-49, the Tortoise, the E-75 all had shots on him. He rushed that T-49 at the perfect timing, and now at least he's got cover. There goes the Tortoise. So now they bring it down to a 4 versus 4, and he's trying to get that opening on the Standard B, which he does. Nice shot there. The Standard B on the enemy team has actually a really good battle. Now, also I like what he's doing here. He knows that there is a tank on his team that, well, it was there, the Standard B on his team, and instead of he just went YOLOing. So he wanted to get behind the E-75. So there was one tank in front and one tank to the side. He does have a Rev on his team that is also with him, and again, that is why he's moving. There's no point two of you being in the same direction against the E-75 that is really well armored. You might as well relocate. So again, I love what he does here. He rushes, perfect time to rush. He gets rid of the Standard B. The E-75 is going to get gone, and it just leaves now 2 tanks. This AMX, which he is circling. At the moment, there's nothing that this AMX can do. If you get behind a tank like this, not giving him any space whatsoever, there is nothing that he can do. Absolutely nothing. And he might as well just sit there and just throw your phone or your iPad out the window, because that is frustrating. And that is one of the most frustrating things for me in Blitz, is when you are driving a turretless TD and a decent player does that to you. It's just, you might as well just drop your iPad and go and make yourself a cup of tea, because there's just nothing you can do. So this battle, all that's left is now the Motion, and God knows what this T-49 is doing. He's behind the Motion. The Motion does not want to know that T-49. However, the T-49 bounces about 3 or 4 shots. He's been here for a while. He bounces 3 or 4 shots. He's got all this time in the world. There we go, aiming, and he bounces. So that's perfect for our man right here in the T-54, because that is just more damage for him. So 100 HP left, and he is going to switch to the Heat just to guarantee the shot and the pen. 6,000 damage, he gets the ace. 44,000 credits, which is actually pretty good for a T-54. You probably only make credits about 5% of the time. It's not a credit earning tank. So next up we have the Centurion 7-1, and this time we are going to watch Angel and quadruple 03. Angel 00003. And again, this is a tank that I never played. But it is a fantastic tank. I love the FE4202. This tank is obviously the tier 9 version. It's a bit slower and it's a bit bigger, and the turret is actually much stronger. A lot of people do prefer the Centurion over the FV4202 because of that turret. It has exactly the same gun as the FV4202, and it's a tank that you don't see that often, and a lot of people don't know how to play these tanks with the Hesh. The Hesh is the best thing about these tanks, and it's the reason why people should play this tank, and the FV4202. If you can penetrate that Hesh, I mean, he just penetrated that E75 with Hesh side on. You can penetrate almost anything side on, and pretty much everything from the rear. You can also penetrate a lot of tanks frontally as well. I mean, the IS tanks, you can penetrate the bottom plate, the IS-8. I mean, the Death Star there, 514 Hesh damage. And if you can just pump up and use that Hesh, then you really will pump up that DPM massively. And that is what I love about this tank. You can get shots that do absolutely no damage, and you can get shots that do 550, 575 damage with the Hesh. And that is why we play this tank. I mean, you can run this tank with the heat gun, but it's nowhere near as fun as running with the Hesh gun. So this battle, he has done 1800 damage, and the enemy already have 2 tanks down. No one is pretty much challenging him. They're all around this area. He is going to get a nice shot there, 351. That was an APCR shot into that Object 268. And now he's just going to get some free damage from this E50. And again, Hesh on the side, no problem whatsoever. Now, if you do have this tank, I mean, if you're good at playing this tank, you should always carry more Hesh than you do APCR. The only downfall with this tank is, and the FV4202, if you come up against a really strong heavy tank that has strong armor frontally, and you can't penetrate it with APCR, you're not going to be able to penetrate it with the Hesh, and you've got no premium round. That you've only got those 2 rounds, so you do either have to just do splash damage, or you have to get around to the side of them or to the rear of them. And that is what I love about this tank. It takes some thinking to actually play. You can't just roll up and Hesh every single body on every person on the enemy team. It requires a little bit of thinking, unless they all give you their side, just like that E50. Now, this battle so far, he's done 3.6k damage, and what he's going to do now is exactly what I thought he should do. There's 3 tanks left, and we know that the 2 tanks, the Object 268 and the ST1, is the other side, which also now leaves this T95 on his own in this direction. And as I'm saying, what I love about this tank, 12 damage. You could do 12 damage or you could do 500. It's just RNG. He was unlucky there. It was an on-the-move shot and pretty much a front plate of at an angle, the T95. So that does cost him a little bit of damage, because now this T95 is absolutely getting wrecked. But you can come up behind him, and again, he's not going to stop. He's going to move, and he only hits the track and does 149 damage. He is going to take out the kill for his second kill, and he gets a nice lucky bounce there from the Object 268. He still has plenty of hit points. The Object 268 is definitely the target to take out and leave the ST. And the Object 268, he's not even going to have a choice. The Object 268 is actually going to rush him. He's going to wait for him to come. He gets the shot. Nice high roll. He does bounce the Object 268, but he takes a shot from the ST. And now he's just going to rush. The Object 268 is on a reload. He's going to track him. He probably didn't mean to track him, but it actually pays out for him, and it turns out in his favor, because now he can just get behind, get to the side, use the Hesh, 439 damage, puts the Object 268 down to a 1 shot, and he's going to reload just before the Object 268 can turn around. So at the moment he's blocked 1200 damage, pretty much from that Object 268. He's on 5000 damage, and now there is a full hit point. ST1, nice high, well, not high roll, nice roll there, 447 damage. And now he is, I thought he was going to rush. I didn't even think he was going to stop. I thought he was just going to go head on, which, if I'm honest, I would have done. I probably would have done that. The IS-7 on his team is pretty much full health. He's the one that should be pushing, but these two, the IS-8 and the Centurion, are the ones that are looking to push. It should be the IS-7. So he's just going to wait. He's going to wait until he can have his opportunity. And there it is, the ST shot. So he's now going to rush in. He has that HE loaded. I don't think he's going to use it. He's going to use the APCR. 1 shot there. He's going to get behind him. And now the ST is in all sorts of trouble. He can't really do anything. He bounces a HE shot there. Lucky ST, he's going to survive a little bit longer, and then he is going to get a nice roll here, and a perfect ending. Perfect ending, not for our man Angel here. He is actually going to miss, and he's going to die. I thought now the IS-7 was going to come in and ram. He failed, so let's leave it to the IS-8. Let's attempt number 3, and finally we get there. Very well played, Angel. 6,300 damage. Makes a little bit of credits. I mean, only 2,000, which is nothing special, but very, very well played. 1,586 base XP. Next up, we have the E50, and this time we're watching a Criminal Killer Shot, and I've had this replay for a couple of months, actually, and it's just been sitting there, so I thought I'd add it in before I start recording some new replays. So he's on Fort Despair, and it is a tier 8 game, and the E50, people have been asking me for an E50 review. It's been a really long time since I have done an E50 review, which I will do one. I am actually working on an E50M review at the moment, but I'll definitely do an E50 review. The E50, just like the Centurion and the T54, it's a very nice tank. It's a very nice tank when you are top tier. You can get bounces just like that, no problem whatsoever. You've still got the ramming capabilities on the tank. The penetration isn't the best, but it is a baby E50M, and the E50M is one of the strongest mediums, and I love what he does here. This is just absolutely fantastic. He's underneath the IS-6. The IS-6 just couldn't do anything, and he couldn't get the gun down. He was facing the air, and now he's just going to face hug him, and now this IS-6 is in all sorts of problems because the Pantera, which is the auto reloader, he's going to come in and he's going to get some damage as well. So at the moment it is one tank down each, and now the AMX-5120, which is an auto loader, he is probably on a reload or just about to go on a reload. He might have a shell left. I think he does have a shell left. There we go, maybe 2 shells. But at the moment it's one tank down each, and this AMX-5120 is all on his own, so they're going to rush him, which this is how you play well. This is how you have good games, and this is how you do damage, and this is how you get your win rate up. Look at the map, and that's what I love about this game, and not just this game but many other games that I watch. There could be a tank that could be close to the enemy, their allies, but if they're far enough away for you to rush, and there's 2 of you against 1, rush him. He's on his own, and it's still going to take the enemy a little bit of time to get back, and by that time you've destroyed him. If they get back, then they are in all sorts of problems. So at the moment he's done 2,700 damage, but there is still 4 tanks left against 3, and 3 of them are medium, so if they all rush him, he can be in a bit of trouble. So there is the T54, there is the Panzer Mutz, and there is 2 other tanks somewhere else. So he's going to rush the T54. He comes out a little bit at an angle, but the T54 decides to turn around, and I think the T54 is going to help their team against the other tank, which was probably the right move for him, if I'm honest. It's definitely the right move, because that Pantera is a one shot. If they can clear him, it will be a 2 versus 4, which is exactly what they do. So he needs to now rush this IS. Luckily 90 HE damage, and it's now 2 versus 3. The T54 and the Panzer Mutz is coming in. He's still got a lot of hit points left. He's still got loads of hit points left. He's on 4 kills, and he's on almost 4k damage. He does make a mistake here. Decides to come this side. He definitely should have just gone the other side to take out the Panzer Mutz. The Panzer Mutz is actually quite a quick tank, and with him circling this rock here, it gives the T54 and the Pantera that has just taken out the T32 time to come back. And great play from the Mutz, if I'm honest. Great play from the Mutz. He does make a mistake in the end, but I just thought it was great play. And if you're in this kind of situation where you know there's low hit point tanks and you can easily win, aim. Just aim. Don't try these fancy shots like that. Luckily you get away with that one, but you didn't get away with the first one, and he does bring it down to a 2 versus 1. He's on 5 kills. Obviously, to win, he needs a 1 versus 3, and he needs the Rosani medal. And he's gone for the Pantera, which is probably the best choice. He does unfortunately miss that shot. With the Pantera being a auto reloader, he's always got a shell available almost. So going for the Pantera was probably the best decision, as the T54's penetration isn't great. So if you face the T-54, he is going to struggle to pen you. So he does take out the Pantera, and it now just leaves him in the T-54. He is a one-shot, so he does need a bounce. He only gets 12 ramming damage there. He does get a bounce there. There's one bounce. He needs another unless he high rolls and goes for the ram. 100 hit points. He doesn't get no hit points for that ram, but he gets another bounce, and that should just about see him through. And yes, it does. 5,200 damage, nearly 2,000 block damage. He gets the Razani medal, and he gets the Kolobanov. Thank you guys for sending me that in. Very enjoyable replays. Send me your replays in to my email address in the description for a chance to feature. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you soon.